Oh my God. Shabam. Hello, everybody. Good morning. Let's fix this webcam. That's better. Whew. 4 people in the chat. Oh, now we're down to 2. There we go. Cool. The 3. Hope you're all doing well this morning. Let's just see where we're at speed-wise. Oi. Haley, hello. Good morning. Excellent job with the script. Harrison, hello. Ashley, hello. Harrison, you got honorable mention in our credits, but your segment came in too late for this week's episode, so the show is live, but we're going to have to put yours in next week. Nick, excellent job with your segment. Again, that was fantastic. The show does look good, and I forced myself to, hello, Kyle. I edited the whole thing in Wevideo. So I opened Premiere and I said, "Nah, we're gonna do the Wevideo," and it was like stupid easy. I agree, Harrison. I agree. Jess, hello. Good morning. Where is everybody? It's funny, Nick, because so I had reached out to Mr. Stevenson and Mr. Cohen to do a segment. They both said yes, and then Mr. Cohen just forgot. But Mr. Stevens sends me something yesterday, and he was really proud of it. And I was like, I don't have the heart to tell him it's not going to make it in the show. It didn't make it in the show, but he also did like a food segment on like how to make a smoothie. And let me tell you, that man makes some damn fine smoothies. I hope everyone's morning is going well. So my phone is blowing up right now in my teacher chat. I'm trying to see if there's any good information. Nonsense. I just think it's funny that every morning there's just massive blasts of stuff going out. A little competition, Nick. Yes. Although he's got nothing. I mean, seriously, yours was done so well. Like I was so thrilled with it. She did do a good job hosting, and I'm hoping she pops in because I think her does she have a younger brother? Like I think he was on the camera, and that was my only quasi criticism was that the camera was shaky. But then I'm like, I can't expect everyone to have tripods or anything. So like I think her brother helped her out, and like it was really cute, especially for their first segment when he like kind of screamed from the background. I was like, aw. So yeah, that was awesome. Like she set the bar right where it needed to be moving into next week. All right, well, it's a 16-minute show, and I posted it like, I don't know, 9:15. So maybe people are watching it. That's why they're not all here, which is surprising because you guys as a class have been great about coming out to these live streams. Robert Shaw. Oh man, what a great name! Like I can just. That's like a classic actor right there. That's a classic acting name. Dave, good morning. Oh, Morgan's here. Yay. Morgan, we were commenting on, well, I was commenting on how well you did with the show. You set the bar perfectly. Do it, Ashley. Share it out there. Get it out there. Yeah, I've been a little braggy about it with some colleagues just because, like, I'm really proud of the fact that it's this. This was like I know I did the edit, but whatever. That took 20 minutes. Like this is all you guys, and I think that's so wonderful that we're finding a way to make this happen. Um, you know, under our current circumstances. Oh. That coffee was not hot enough. And that's just the worst. All right, we're trickling in. Vinny's here. There we go. Vinny, Kyle, I added some music to your segment just to kind of make it, I don't know, a little less quiet in the background. Like, you guys obviously found spaces in your home to record quietly, which is fantastic. I just pumped a little music in from NFL films. So I hope you don't mind that. Harrison, we could do a weather segment. Sure. I mean, yeah, it might be a little bit more crucial now than ever if people want to know the days which are going to be good to go outside. Why not? But I would maybe pitch that idea and pass that along to someone who might be struggling to come up with some segment ideas to make, because it's simple enough to do from home. All right, weekly forecast, especially if the weekend forecast, I guess. If our aim is to do a Thursday, Friday show, then the weekend forecast would probably be the best way to go. I know 8A has an episode going out tomorrow. I don't know anything about it or what's in it, though, so. All right, but what I am going to do, because I feel like I've glossed over it. Where's my pen? All right, I'll just set a reminder on my phone or my computer. There we go. Done. All right. I love and appreciate that you folks are all here right now, as you seem to be the same folks that are coming every class and being active in the chat and contributing to our show. But there is a gigantic portion of our group that is not coming at all, nor have I heard of or from, and that's not good. I think I did see Mrs. Herrick tweet about a TikTok dance challenge last night. But I didn't investigate more than that. Now, as you guys know, probably, or can at least hint to or allude to, not my thing. But if you want to do something along those lines, by all means, yeah, let's try and make this as interactive as possible. Like, I think we started with a pretty diverse lineup of stuff. We got nutrition, we've got sports, we've got what's happening around our RHS Twitter realm, we've got health and exercise. Like, those are all really good things. Oh, Morgan, that's okay. If it makes you feel any better, yesterday, was it yesterday? Oh, yeah. Ashley can attest to my TV3 class. My computer, which is hooked up to a charger, was dying all of a sudden. I actually am pretty concerned that I'm overworking it with all the things I've got plugged in and doing simultaneously. Fingers crossed I don't set fire to another laptop. Ashley, what do you mean it corresponds to class in school? Here's the other thing I found interesting as well. So it got a copyright strike, of course, which I fully anticipated. Seeing as how I basically stole a video from another channel and put it in and used copyrighted music throughout and for the intro and the outro and the sports guys. And the only part of the video that it pegged was the 30 seconds of Ali and Jess's exercise video for a copyright strike. It's still, obviously, it's showing. There might be an ad or two before it. I just thought that was funny. I was concerned that with that one video stolen, I'm just gonna get stricken. Oh, I mean, yeah, I see what you're saying, but at the same time, I don't know. Genuinely, like in school, our class I feel is really good, and I'm comparing that to a lot of morning show classes years before. Over the last few years, I think genuinely, it's a pretty good group of people. Yeah, Jess, I made sure to shut it down last night. My computer is like I've scheduled it to turn off at 5 o'clock every day and turn on every day at 7. The only problem is normally I'm still working at 5 o'clock, so I normally cancel that. And when I close the lid and kind of walk away, it doesn't shut down. It just stays on. So no, Jess, add music the way you want to add music. I kind of just want to push, like, use this as an opportunity to push what YouTube's going to allow. Because the two things we have working for us are it's an unlisted stream, meaning you can't search for it. You need to have the link, which is why it's important that we publish it everywhere we can, because you can't search for RHS Morning Show and have it pop up. And then the second thing, it's classified as it's categorized as academic or educational. So I don't know if that means anything on their end, but it might. So yeah, I wouldn't worry so much about the music until I start getting like concrete stuff back from them on like similar stuff that's saying, hey, you use this song, here's your strike, or hey, you use this song, we're muting your entire video, something like that. Once that becomes consistent, then we'll have to reshape how we go about putting some of that stuff in there. Oh, Denisa, I did get your email, and I'm so sorry. I don't know if I got it too late in the evening. But I also wasn't sure if you had checked the post I put up from the other day. I threw some like simple suggestions in towards the bottom of that post, and just allowed people to, of course, add to that list if they came up with some other ideas. Even Harrison just tossed out, a simple weekend weather thing could be quick and easy. So take a look there and see. But like maybe as a group, we can throw some suggestions at Denisa. To try and bolster what we got coming in, especially if we're, missing half of our class. The Three Sports Guys intro, I didn't have on my computer, and so I couldn't put it in because the only other place it exists is on the server. So Morgan introduces you guys, but then we cut right to you. So I don't have like an actual digital copy of that intro, which means we could possibly make a new one. But I don't have it. I think it was one of those things where once I finished making it. Oh no, you guys wait, hold on. You made that one. I made the one that Chris Rotundo stole. It exists on your computer and the server, and then probably Lucy or Desi. And yeah, I don't have access to those things. So we might need a new intro for that. If you want to make one. If you don't, that's totally cool as well. Dave, do it. Find like be the host, generate the topic, write the questions and debate topics, and then pick like one person to be your guest that day who is going to contend against what you have to say. And I think if you're able to do like if you do like a Google Meet or a Google Zoom and record that screen, like I think the picture in picture thing could look really cool. Yeah, if you guys have copies of that stuff, even if it's like attached to an old episode, you can share it with me and I can extract it and put it in future edits. Unless we have someone on board who wants to take on the edit as their contributions to the show. So Denise, if we're really struggling to come up with a segment and then find it's hard to stay on top of that, it's entirely possible that we can put you in a position to do the edit. And so, oh, good golly, Miss Molly. That's good. So I think, man, I'm really bummed. I'm don't get me wrong. I love that you're all here and we're active and chatting and contributing. I'm starting to get bummed out on the 14 people that are not here. Okay, so let's transition a little bit if we can. Yesterday, I attempted to do something with my TV3 class with an online video platform called Wevideo, and it was kind of a disaster. A lot of that was tech, but I think a lot of that was also oversight on my part to anticipate what was shown on the student end, because on my end, things look just slightly different. And I think there was a general misunderstanding for me on how to interpret what some of the stuff Wevideo does. Vinny, that can work. That can definitely work. So last night I put a post up in our classroom stream, just kind of indicating what I wanted to just very loosely get into with you today. And that might be, with the time we have left, hey, let's make sure this is set up and working the right way. I might not have time to get into the specifics, but because we're on a Tuesday, Thursday week, this actually might put us in a pretty decent position to kind of touch upon lightly on Monday, and then give us time on, throughout the rest of that week to play with it before, I guess, Wednesday would be our show next week, right? As we don't have class Friday because that's the first day of spring break. So we could be in a good spot there. I'm just going to be cognizant of the stream that I've got running. It's looking pretty. And my computer battery, apparently. No, David, if you're doing debate stuff, fly solo, man. Like, you can have like one of them on as a guest, but like, I think a debate segment would be really cool. And they could be, it could be sport related. It could be like trivial stuff. It could be, I don't know. You guys have access at home, I'm sure. It's blocked at school, but like, get to Reddit. Go to the subreddit Shower Thoughts, and like, you will find a plethora of really weird, argumentative kind of like, I never thought of that kind of stuff before, that I think could be really cool to bring up, and then in a fun way argue that with someone. Spring break is as my understanding is full on. I haven't heard anything otherwise, but I think the plan was to keep it intact as it stood. Next Friday is Good Friday, so we're off then, and then we're off through the following week, and then we're back from break on the 20th. I don't want to say back traditionally. But yeah, the 10th we're off. So the 9th would be our last day. That's a A-day, so I wouldn't see you guys then. And I guess, I don't know what I'm doing with it, but next Wednesday technically starts Passover. Obviously, I'm not traveling, but that Wednesday and Thursday, had we been in school, I was going to take off for the holiday. I don't think that's going to happen now. So, okay, so there's 10 of us. Let's attempt this again for me and for Ashley. if you guys would be so kind to pop another tab open and go to wevideo.com. It's going to prompt you to log in using your username and password. And I put it up in the classroom stream. You can check there. I don't want to say it out loud because these streams are live, and I don't want anyone to hear that password. But your login or your username is your school email address, and you need to have the @hazlitt.org part of it. Password is posted in Classroom. So could you guys take a sec to pop open another tab, wevideo.com, and then log in for me if you could. I'm going to pop over to my desktop screen in a bit here. Just to explain some things much clearer than I did yesterday. Harrison, I didn't get a chance to watch your segment yet. I'm curious why you thought it was tedious, because I did the morning show. Like I did our first episode in Wevideo. And I didn't find it that bad at all. I mean, obviously, it's not as complex, and in its simplicity, it makes some things easier to do, but you lose some control. But all in all, I actually found it pretty good for a free, especially free for us now, but a free cloud-based editor. Which is great because then you arguably don't have to have any footage on your computer at all, and you can log into Wevideo on another computer, and that footage is there, and that's kind of a benefit of it. Okay, Ashley is seeing the footage for broadcasting, okay, but nothing for TV3. All right, well, we don't need to worry about that now per se. Although you should, but that's okay. Do we have to join our class or group? Joe, welcome. No, you do not. And that was a big issue and hiccup that we had yesterday in my other class. You are already in a group. So I'm going to bounce over to my desktop cam here, which means you will see all of the wonderful workings on the machine. Oh yeah, no, I mean, Harrison, you're absolutely right. There is, like, even I was pressing keyboard shortcuts and going, these aren't doing anything, but of course they're not going to do anything. So there is kind of a, you got to work your brain around it a little bit. So just so you guys know, I'm going to bounce over to my Wevideo tab to show you things, but I won't be able to see the chat. So if you have things to say or questions, please throw them in there. I will check back periodically. So you guys are looking at, once you log in, your Wevideo dashboard. Okay, it'll welcome you up over here, and then down below there is an option to join a class or a group. Again, we do not need to do that. You guys are already in a group. All right, you are in my broadcasting group right here. All right, so if you see your name here, you are good to go. And I think Harrison, you were one of my guinea pigs because you already had an account. And I think Dave, you might have been on that list too. I don't know if you've used this before. I know Nick is on that list. If you're having issues, it might be because your login you've set up already when you use this for another class or project. So on your dashboard, you're going to see some options to create a new video and to do a live recording from a webcam or something. And then down below would be your recent edits. Now, you don't have any recent edits, but if on the top here, as there's a couple different tabs you can go to, all right, you probably don't have the admin tab. There's going to be a tab for projects. And if you click on projects, now, of course, mine's going to look different. All right, you've got your projects over here, and then there are projects that are shared with you. Now, I don't have any projects shared with me, all right, so my list is going to look a little bit different. But if you click on shared with me, you should see a project called Morning Show Mess Around, all right? This is a project that I created that I shared with everyone, all right? And if you click on that, all right, you're going to get an option to create or start a new video edit, and that's what you want to do. You want to create a new video. And so what it's going to do is it's going to set up a video that contains all the project media that I put in there for you, which is everything I use to piece the show together, I think with the exception of the Three Sports Guys music, because I added that way later. So I'm just going to bounce back to the stream real quick. Son of a biscuit. Gotta tell you guys, not your fault by any stretch of the imagination. This is mad frustrating. It apparently does not like when I go to my desktop. All right, well, my connection's back, which is great, but not promising for what I wanted to show you. Yep, and now everyone's bouncing. Okay. Oh, frustration. Okay, I'm going to not get angry because this is outside of my control, and being frustrated is not going to help anything. All right, so here's maybe what the best course of action is going to be then. So I've done my part in figuring out how this functions and works as far as the Wevideo stuff to go over with you. However, it seems as if being able to stream this successfully is kind of a crapshoot right now. So I'm going to continue to go into some things, but what may end up happening is if this starts to lag or freeze, I'm just going to have to record this as a video and then upload it as a tutorial for you guys to watch. And if I can do that, that might take the place of, one of our class times, just so I could be fair to the time that you're putting into this as well as everything else. So if this ends up crapping out again, if you left and came back, thank you. But I might have to do this as a video tutorial and then not do it live, as that's apparently problematic. Excuse me. Vinny, you can just upload it to Drive and then just share it with me. Okay, geez. All right, so I'm gonna move a little quick and just make sure I'm bouncing back between everything here. Okay. Let's go here and then bounce here. Okay. So within your projects in that morning show mess around, if you go to, all right, and then start a new video or create new edit, it will take you to, and I'm just going to bounce to mine, your main editing layout. Okay. You've got your project name up here, some themes, and some linked resources. These two things you're not really going to need to worry about, all right? And your main menu for options is here where you can save. Now, it will save periodically, all right, when you make changes, but it's a good option just to make sure that if you're going to shut down for the day that you save, okay? Now, oh, I can't because my window's not full screen. I did find some issues when my window was full screen and being able to scroll and stuff, and that's because I'm using a trackpad. And Apple's trackpads, if you swipe with 2 fingers, then you can also go back and forth between your browsing history. And while that's great, it also sucks for having to scroll on a timeline. Now you'll notice that, okay, this other toolbar here has stock media, which Wevideo just kind of throws out there. All right, your media, all right, and you'll see that you've got 2 folders. You've got my media, which I have some. You don't have any personally put in there, all right, and then project media. And within that project media, you're going to see everything that I used in the morning show, all right, which is everything that you guys had contributed to the morning show. Now, I don't have anything there because this was a project that I made. So what you're going to end up seeing is these clips, all right, as part of your project, all right? And it's pretty straightforward in how to manage some of this stuff, all right? If you just start with, and of course they're all named, which will help you tremendously, all right? Our intro, if you click it once, it goes over to kind of your program source monitor, where you're then able to, of course, preview that back. All right, you can adjust your in points and out points. I have not found a way to do it via shortcut, all right, which would be nice, but at least it scrubs to the right frame. All right, and then it's as simple as dragging that down to your timeline. All right, once you're in the timeline, all right, it will default to a simple view. All right, but if you expand those tracks, so far so good, okay. With this option here, so video one, if you use the drop down and go to the biggest option, all right, you'll see the thumbnail a little bit better, but you also see the waveform, all right, which is good. And if you need to make adjustments to things, you kind of do it within the clip. So, you know, here, for example, this is Morgan introducing the Twitter scoop or Hazlitt scoop. If you double click this clip, you get some options there where you can adjust the scale, position, things like that. You can adjust the audio that's natively in that clip. All right. You can adjust some animation, tweak the color and brightness, things like that. You can remove, there's a keyer in there. So if you're in front of a green screen, you can actually remove part of a color as well. All right. And then down at the bottom, you need to make sure you click on Save Changes when you make those adjustments. Okay. If you're doing that for an audio track, and again, we'll drop this down. All right. If you double click, all right, you'll notice that, oh, that's the music I added. All right. Audio does not have the same parameters to tweak, but you can adjust the levels in two ways. You can bring down and keyframe part of the track here. You'll notice there's a blue line on these, okay, where you can add keyframes and make adjustments. So if you wanted to add a fade in, you can, okay. And if you want to adjust the overall level of the track, you can do it over here. So you'll notice that I've got this volume pushed a little bit, but I brought down the track volume down to 9% to make sure it was in the background in the right way. So the other thing you can do also is if you click it once, you can either delete it or you can adjust the audio settings there, and you can bring down the levels as a whole. And you'll see that the background of that clip changes a little bit from light gray to dark gray depending on where the levels are. All right, I'm going to undo that action and escape out. I'm going to bounce back to the chat real quick. Vinny shared the intro. Ashley couldn't find, but then found them. Okay. All right. And so I'm just going to shrink these so it's a little bit easier to see and navigate. All right. You'll notice my video 2 track is my lower thirds, which conveniently enough, in the tool menu here, all right, under text, there's a couple different options. Okay. Motion, there's some static ones. All right, in season, which is like seasonal stuff and kind of cheesy. Call outs are, I guess, if you have a presentation and you wanted to put something in there to make mention of a particular part of that, you can. I just kind of scrolled until I found something I liked. I used the one called Peppermint, all right, which animates itself in and out, so you don't need to add any transitions to it. And so when you bring that down to the timeline, if you double click it, all right, you're going to get your options here. And there's 2 menus. One, you can adjust the size and the position in the frame. All right, which I will admit, I chose this graphic because of where Morgan was positioned, I figured a traditional lower third would take up too much of the screen. So I use this one because it's smaller. And you can change, of course, this word bubble will let you change what it says. All right, it'll also let you change the font. Okay, it does make those changes live, which is great, so you can see it. All right, and it does automatically conform, meaning if your lower third title was really long, it would just keep shrinking the font until it fit within that box. All right. The colors up top was kind of a trial and error because it doesn't actually stipulate which color it changed. And so it took a little playing around to figure out which one was the text, which one was the background, and stuff like that. And then, of course, at the end, right, save your changes. So what I did for the lower thirds, just to keep them consistent, once I made the first one and got the colors the way I liked and the font the way I liked, all right, all I did was copy it, all right, and then paste it. And if you copy from a track, it will paste in that same track. So if you have a whole track dedicated to your graphics or effects, it will paste in that track, which is really, really cool because then all I did was double click the new one, change the text, and then the position on the screen and the colors were all the same. So that was a really quick and easy way to do those and have them look a lot nicer with very minimal effort. All right, I'm going to pause for a sec and just get back to the stream here. See if there's any questions. No, nothing at the time being. All right. Audio works the same as text and stock media, as there is some free music and free sound effects that are in there. All right. Backgrounds. Again, if you have chroma keying where you're removing a green screen, there are some pre-rendered backgrounds you can throw in there. And then transitions is the only other place where I wouldn't say it got weird. It's just a little bit different than, of course, what we're used to. If you're putting a transition between clips, all right, you can do one of two things. If your clips are lined up in the timeline, all right, you can kind of double click the beginning or end of that clip and add a transition, and it will add by default a cross dissolve. If you want anything other than a cross dissolve, all right, you can find them up here, and it'll give you an example of what it looks like, all right, using just random things. So you can get a good preview, all right, something like that. Then you would take that and drag that towards the end of your clip. All right, just note that when you bring it down, it does need to be green like that. If you bring it down and it's red, it won't add it. And the only thing I've found that causes that to happen is if the clip itself is not long enough. So you want to make sure that it's at the appropriate length if you're getting that red transition add. All right, so if I back out of this and go to my dashboard, I'll get into my test edit just because there's a little bit more space in there. And I quite frankly don't care if I delete this. All right, so I can still go into my project media. Whoops. All right, so if I'm bringing in, now I'm going to pull this clip as an example here. So if you're shooting stuff for a segment, and let's just say there are two parts of the segment that you want to of the clip that you want to use, and one of those is at the beginning and one of those is at the end. Traditionally in Premiere, you would set in points and out points in your source monitor, drag that down to the timeline, and then you can reset new in points and out points in the source monitor later in the clip and bring that section down. It kind of works the same way here. So if, for example, I wanted to use the beginning of Twitter Scoop here, let's say this section, all right, I can bring this up. I would isolate that in point, out point, and then bring it down into the timeline, all right, and your zoom for the timeline's over here. I like mine kind of cranked all the way out. All right, so this is going to be just that first section. Now, if I wanted the end of that segment, all right, I would reset my in point and out point and then bring it down from the project pane here, and it would be the other section. And I know that's a little weird, and it'll show you like this section of the video is here and this section of the video is here. So instead of kind of doing in points, out points within the same clip, you're doing it twice, if that makes any sense. And I'm going to delete those there. All right, if you do bring clips in, I'm just going to bring in a clip of Morgan. Check the stream. Okay. You'll notice that there's a few things that pop up above the clip. All right. One, you can get into your transform tools. All right. You can do keyframing for your opacity. All right. Which will then extend and add a green bar here. So if you wanted to do a manual cross dissolve, for example, or I'm sorry, manual fade, you certainly can. All right, but I can tell the beginning of this clip is also, there's nothing there. So now that it's in my timeline, if I wanted to make that adjustment, all right, I can just grab from the front of that clip and drag over. All right, she starts to talk. Let's get it after that blink. All right, and she still fades in, looking good. Okay, you can adjust the audio. You can add a fade to it, which will put that there automatically. Whoops, we want volume to be there, but I don't want the fade there. All right, you can add effects, which are kind of like filters to those clips if you're going for like a black and white. All right, cool, we can make it black and white, that's fine. And it will make that adjustment. And of course, you can always go back to effects and uncheck it and then add it off or take it off. You still have access to audio here. So if you do want to fade in, you can adjust this and you'll see that the duration changes, all right, to a default time frame. Now I can't hear this playing back because my speakers are muted, but it would be coming out of my computer speakers. All right, cool. We're going to end it there. Let's bring this back. Boom, done. All right. And then it would kind of, it would really just, that's how you would assemble things, right? And then, okay, she's introducing a segment and we're going to put the segment next and we're going to trim things up. It is easy to use. The adjustment is going to come, and I think Harrison hit the nail on the head. The adjustment is going to come with, I know how to do this in Premiere. I got to figure out how to do that here. And I think it's pretty intuitive. You kind of figure that out. The other thing is going to be, I want to do this. It can be done in Premiere. It either is done differently in Wevideo or it can't be done at all. Like I said, there's something, in the name of simplicity and accessibility, you remove some of those pro-level features that, if 1% of Premiere users use, that's great because the software is designed for a higher tier of video editor. Wevideo is not going to say, 1% of users need this feature, we're going to put it in because it makes their product more cumbersome. And of course, at that point, right, you got to start paying big bucks for it. Now, Wevideo is going to be free for us through the rest of the school year. So depending on how long we go, we'll have access to it. I believe this is good through July, which will take us to the end of the year if on the chance that we're not back when we're all hoping to be back. So, seeing as how, wow, my stream is killing it right now. What the hell? This is so inconsistent. Chat's been quiet for a while. I'm going to pause for a sec and just, if you guys can give me some indication in the chat that what I said made sense, if there was a question you had or things aren't working, let me know. I'm curious because this is the longest stretch of time that you guys have been quiet. So I'm just curious where you are. If you can give me some semblance of where your head's at and how it's been kind of tinkering while I'm going over some stuff. So give me some words in the chat there if you could. Ashley says it makes sense. Cool. Okay. All looks pretty easy. I agree. It's very easy. Where did you get the effects filters again? All right, Harrison. So if you, I'm just going to use this clip that I have here in the timeline already. One little cumbersome thing that I saw, at least that I did traditionally, is that typically in Premiere, if you click anywhere in the top portion of your screen where your playhead is, it will jump there. You need to be actually in the numerical values here. I'm used to clicking down here for some reason, but you need to click in these numbers if you're jumping around. So if you want to add those effects, select your clip once by clicking it once, and you'll see that this banner pops up here, and you'll have an option for FX. And if you click on FX, it will take you to the effects screen, which are essentially like, photo filters, but I didn't toy with the image stabilization. I'm hoping we don't have to. It's in beta, so that means it might not work and work well. And it says that it's going to be applied after you publish your video, meaning in order to see the results of this, you need to export. I would stay away from that. But we'll just invert our colors here. All right, it'll preview it here, and then we hit apply, and then now we see Satanic Morgan. Harrison, let me know if that answers your question. And if so, wonderful. If not, then I will answer it better. Well, Haley, if we stick to you being on top of the script and making sure that you and Morgan as our executive producers kind of act as the liaison between me, of course. I'll keep you abreast of all the segments that are coming in so we know for certain. But essentially, if you want to take charge of doing that script and then making sure it's communicated with whoever we select to be our host or anchor for that week, to make sure that we're on them to get that stuff shot and recorded, right? If you're going to finalize the script, and let's just say Vinny's our anchor for the week, that script goes to Vinny. Hey, Vinny, let me know when you're done recording. Okay, great. If Vinny doesn't say anything, follow up, hound Vinny. Like, we need to make sure that these clips, because Morgan did a good job of getting those clips to me on time yesterday, where I was able to piece together the show in a short amount of time, turn it around, export, upload, and then prep YouTube. Because all that stuff does take some time on my end. Excuse me. And so I'm perfectly okay if you want to stay on top of that as your contributions, because we've got that doc already made. We can you can follow up with people if they put a segment idea in there for the week. Hey, Nick, I saw you did a food segment again for week 2. It's in the doc. Mr. Leonard signed off on it. What's the update? Where are we? And that could be a pretty hefty responsibility in its own right. It's a little bit less video and editing intensive, but it's a lot more communication intensive. So once that chart starts to fill out with people that are putting segments in for that week's episode, you might need to reach out and follow up with them to make sure that they're getting done and they're going to get done on time. Otherwise, they're not going to make the cut. So the real challenge I think we all have is, and again, it's I don't know the answer to it, is getting the other half of the class involved. Now, from a grade standpoint, right, that's the one thing that you guys, you're going to be fine with, but they're going to get hit, and it's not going to be good. But we need to get these folks involved to lessen the burden on everyone that's here now. Oh, Haley, welcome to my world. Well, listen, if I hear you, and some people are just their Chromebook hasn't been open since we left the building, and we can't do anything about that. So if there's no other means, I don't expect you to have everyone in class's phone number, but if there's a, hey, Mr. Leonard, Harrison was doing this segment, and here's my, I sent 3 emails to him over 3 days, and I haven't heard back. Like, okay, welcome to my world. There is a paper trail of you trying to make contact. They were unresponsive. You did what you were supposed to do, and they didn't. And that's that's on them. That's not on you, right? Sending Harrison a email that might be confusing at a weird hour of the night, and then saying the next day, well, I never heard back. That I would say, well, try again. Be formal. Send it during a normal time. Try over a couple days. That then Like, I think you'll be fine in that regard. And if not, Vinny's volunteering to be the bounty hunter to go out and just go door to door and try and shake people up and get segments out of them. Ashley, our show is Wednesday of next week because Friday we're on spring break and we have a Monday, Wednesday class. So what that'll mean now, as we're almost out of time, is that we want to start looking to next Wednesday as our air date for our episode, which means, I guess today's Thursday, so that's fine. I keep thinking it's Friday. Every day feels like Friday and Sunday simultaneously. We want to start thinking, okay, we need to have some of these segments in and done by Monday of next week, so that way we can get the script finalized to an anchor and then everything to me for that edit. And if we find that, like, no, the show's on. It's up. It's on YouTube. It's there. I put the link in Classroom too. What was I going to say? Yeah, so Haley, maybe we can have a conversation about what worked and didn't work as far as our initial plan for this week, and then maybe be a little bit more strict on like the times. Like if we want to go back to that copy of that doc, which I'll put in Classroom again as a separate post for people to, hey, episode number 2, we need stuff. Same as before, fill this out, but maybe say, segments need to be edited, exported, uploaded to Google Drive, and shared with Haley and Morgan and Mr. Leonard by, if we want to say noon on Monday, like the 2 days before our air date, then we can certainly say that. And then we can say there's a strict deadline. Ooh, emojis. The other side of that, I had a thought and I think I just lost it. Oh, there it is. When we're back from break and we're on a 2-day week and 3-day week, if we start to get into a rhythm where everyone knows the deadlines, everyone knows what they're working on, and can continue to produce stuff, it's probably going to change how we meet week to week. And that could also be beneficial to people as well. If we know that on a 3-day week that we're going to touch base on Monday and we've got a show on Friday and segments are due by noon on Wednesday, we might not need to meet as a group on Wednesday unless there are some things that we want to go over very quickly. Now, I've been big with my TV1 classes. I gave them a week-long assignment. We've checked in every time just as a way to maintain consistency, because I think that routine is good. But it might lighten our load, and we can go, on Wednesday, all right, if things are due at noon, I don't need to come to a 9 o'clock stream. I'm going to work on my segment and then make sure that's in on time. So like it can change that as well. Ooh, excuse me. All right, so here's I guess where we'll end now is we're pushing up against that 10 o'clock time, and I want to be respectful of what you guys need to take care of. I'm going to make a copy of that doc that you guys had filled out with the chart in it for your segments. It's going to be pretty much the same. So if we have an episode 2 idea, we can throw it in there. All right, once it gets that green stamp of approval, get into production. I'm going to try and make a habit of checking that daily. So if you do throw it up there at the end of a day, if I don't see it for 2 days, that slows you down in making that. Losing my train of thought because I'm trying to get so much out in such a short amount of time. And then Haley, we can talk about setting a time deadline for Monday so that we can get the script finalized and then to our anchor. Is there anyone in the chat that would like to host the show as an anchor for next Wednesday? It'll air Wednesday. It would need to be shot Monday, Tuesday. because I'm also going to throw this video in the classroom stream as well with the timestamp marked for when the Wevideo started working, so we can get that out to the rest of the class. And then hopefully they can contribute. And I understand that's not your fault or your concern at all. I mean, it is for me, because when half the class isn't here doing things or showing up, you guys are here and you need to worry about yourselves, of course. But yeah, that's a stressor and a bummer on my end. And there you go. We've already got Harrison's segment in. So Harrison, I am going to ask if you would be so kind, when that doc goes up, if you still could add your segment to that doc, even though it's done. It'll just help with the paper trail, and it'll help keep track of what we know is going in. Yes, Haley, I'm going to put up a new document. I'm just going to make a copy of the old one. Let me see here. Make a copy. Why it doesn't copy to the same place it came from is very frustrating. But as I'm learning, being stuck with Google, this is all fairly frustrating. Move here. All right, I'm going to get that up there in the next 2 minutes, but let's wrap on today, because we're out of time. Of course, we can continue to stay in contact between now and next week. And for those of you that have been, as far as your segments and asking questions about, like, thank you guys so much. Really, I think everyone in this chat I heard from in some capacity from the end of our last class to the start of this class, and I really appreciate that. So thank you guys for caring and doing everything that we're doing. I think we got a hell of a good product out this morning, and you should be proud of that. So we just want to get everyone involved. So let's, excuse me, let's wrap. That post is going to go up very quickly. It's going to look the same as before. So you'll see that doc, which means if you're on a recurring segment, it's just a matter of putting your stuff in there so we know what to expect. And then, yeah, Harrison, if you want to be talent, actually, yeah, Harrison, if you do want to be talent, like, be talent. Like, let's do it. Who cares I don't care if it looks weird. Everything is going to look weird at this point. So that way, at least, because your segment will be in, but that way you can kind of be parallel to moving into week 3. You don't have to make a segment for week 2 if you're going to be the anchor, and we can use your one for week 1. Is that okay? Yes, Harrison. Cool. All right. So, sorry, the chat is, of course, a little behind. All right. So we'll conclude for today. That doc's going to be posted momentarily. I just got to empty it out and then put the new post up. So that'll be there. And then we'll probably touch base quickly on Monday just to get an update with everyone collectively. I'm going to send out some emails to students that haven't shown and to their parents, and hopefully we get them to come as well. And we'll see you guys on Monday. Reach out if you need to. Enjoy your weekend. Let's wrap this Mama Jamba, and I'll see you all on Monday. Thank you so much for everything. I really, really, really appreciate it and love it. So we'll see you guys then. All right. Adios.